AskReddit by Mindless Problem 1114. What kind of technology do you think already exists, but the government is keeping a secret? Even stealth airplanes. As proven by the fact that no one know about them. Hacking backdoors to enemy countries' computer systems. They know that if they use them then they get patched and become useless, so they save their best ideas for if they're ever in a serious bind. This is already confirmed. There are hundreds of 0 days out there that the government is just sitting on. Once you burn it, it's useless, so you save it for a necessary time. IDK about specifics of anything, but I'm pretty confident that anytime the DOD announces some fancy new jet or whatever, they're giving us old news. There's already an even fancier, higher tech jet flying around they don't want us to know about yet. I heard the quote, "The stuff we tell the public about is years ahead of what the Russians keep secret," as a patriotic brag, and while I obviously have no idea how accurate it is, always stuck with me a lot. At this point in time, drone tech is probably far more advanced than we realize. We can have dozens or hundreds controlled for entertainment commercial use today. Just imagine what the military can do. Heck, just see what Ukraine is doing with drones now. Fun fact, during the late 1950s through the late 1960s, more than 50% of UFO sightings in the USA directly correlated to top secret U-2 and A-12/SR-71 training flights. People who reported them to the Air Force through Project Blue Book were given explanations that it was Venus or whatever. Blue Book personnel would pass the sightings on to the CIA who were running those programs, and the CIA would try to match them up to the top secret flight logs of their surveillance aircraft. More often than not, they got a hit. They didn't inform the Air Force about it, though, because the Air Force didn't have a need to know. So even USAF pilots who saw something were given a cock and bull story. This is why I scoff at some of the recent eyewitness testimonies given to Congress about UFOs. Some of them are highly credible and disciplined military men. Doesn't mean they know everything our or other governments are doing. Weaponized Boston Dynamics dogs. TBF, there's no reason you couldn't just strap a claymore on one, and plenty of people have experimented with putting firearms on them. Only thing is, it's cheaper to just strap a bomb to a DJI or FPV drone and fly that into a target, like they're doing in Ukraine. My buddy told me that they have secretly invented crackers that don't go stale and hoarding them from the public because they are evil. Can be found in your nearest MRE imp pack. There's secret, and then there's quiet. The quiet advancements in camouflage are spooky. Practical optical metamaterials. Deleted. This has been true for about 15-20 years, thanks lobbyists for H&AMP, R-Block and other shitty software service companies. I think the chance of the best quantum computer in existence being the same one as the best one known to public is fairly low. All your passwords belong to us. I'm sure there's plenty, but it's more boring than you might think. When I was a young man I was in military intelligence and there was some pretty nifty capability back then that was top secret but is now far surpassed by what hobbyists can do. Zoom system on cameras. When I was active duty in the early 2000s we talked about how the images we were getting were zoomed so far in and such crystal clear images, and it was amazing what we could do. Now 24 years later my phone does a better job, but we have satellites that can zoom in and read the date on a penny laying in the road. Imagine what we don't know about with those satellites. It wouldn't surprise me if micro drones were a thing that the government uses to spy on people. They could be the size of houseflies, you would never know, and they would have no incentive to tell you. One of my fav conspiracies is that stink bugs were released in the US intentionally because that is the smallest a drone could, economically, be at the time, and a simple design, and non-threatening, so people leave them alone. Plus, if you crush them there's a bad smell phobia, so instead of crushing stink bug drones people annoyed by them just release them back outside or into the garbage. According to the back of every spy novel I've seen at the airport, DARPA is up to some crazy shit. A few years ago, DARPA was caught hiding balloons all over the country. We can clone. You can already go online and clone your dog. We might not have done it, but we 100% can clone a human. Someone somewhere has done it. As we've seen in Ukraine, we've had the ability to shoot down hypersonic missiles that supposedly travel so fast they can't be shot down. Hypersonic missiles have been around since 1957, as all ICBMs are hypersonic. What's hard to shoot down are hypersonic cruise missiles and hypersonic glide vehicles, since those are hard to maneuver. Yeah, Russia replacing its ICBM's first stage with getting launched from an aircraft is good for propaganda. What it doesn't do is magically grant maneuvering capability to second stage of ICBM. Social media backdoors. Why, when everyone has their junk hanging out the front doors? During some of those UFO discussions in Congress, they kept using the phrase non-human intelligence rather than alien extraterrestrial. My crazy idea is that there are top secret army models, full AGI, that have been used to develop breakthrough tech. It's batshit crazy, but my alien theory has always been that it's AI. People in UFO circles always talk about there being a UFO boom when nukes were created. But something else was created around the same time. Computers. And once you get computers, sooner or later you're going to create a new type of artificial intelligence. Basically, what if the UFOs aren't here for us because we don't matter? They're here to see the birth of a new army to join their ranks. That shit Batman had in The Dark Knight is real. You mean the cape? I actually developed and patented stuff like that, as in, our patent basically covers that. Not even kidding. I had crafted the samples and invented the testing setup and methodology after consulting with the cutting-edge industry R&D experts. Cloaking. Wild speculation. I have seen nothing like that. Cat girls. They are keeping them safe from us. This must be the human and animal hybrids the Republicans are against now. Which government? Earth's government. Like Mars's government would ever cover anything up. Oh. The ability to just tell us what we owe for taxes. We said real, not fiction. Time travel, and they just keep preventing WW3 without changing the course of human history too much to where they never actually invent time travel. This is the plot, more or less, of Kaleidoscope Century by John Barnes, C. Phoebs. There is a time machine. And the main use it is put to is to ensure no one else invents the time machine. Instant matter transmission. The movie and Michael Crichton novel Timeline explained it on a way that makes somewhat sense, but used to time travel. You're basically faxed in the most simplest way. I like this one. Timeline was a great little movie. Drone swarms. Is it really a secret though?